Hello my dear students, and welcome once again to another video for our class in CA 101. In this video we are going to create a RESTful API that is a little bit more advanced, simply because it's going to have two tables, and our endpoints are going to make use of those two tables, and thereby having two sets of data that are related with each other. Right now, what we have is I already have this project, and inside of this project, I already have a migration for our users, and right now our users have this set of data, and also I already also have a user factory which tries to implement a faker for our seeder, which I also have here. This will create 50 instances of seeds into our database. So when I go into our terminal and I do PHP artisan migrate, let me have it from fresh, and with a seed I'll be generating 50 users. So if I go to our localhost PHP my admin and check out our users, we now have this. It have a total of 50 users. All right, and there are already, we also have as a endpoint for our users. So this route resource users generated some endpoints for us, and in fact, if we want to look at our endpoints, PHP artisan route list, these are all our endpoints related to users. So this is working. This will return all the users, and this will allow us to insert a user. This is not working because we're not having any views, but we do have the create, this one, for our creation of users, and so on. And to test this out, let's go to Insomnia and create a new request. I'll just call this my get request. Okay, and inside of here we're gonna do http ://localhost :8000, so API users, and okay, we have not started our server yet. Let's do PHP artisan serve. There you go, and click on send again, and we have here all our users. This is arranged according to last name, first name. So you see here the first object that we get has a last name of block. I don't know where you find a last name block, followed by Kremen, followed by Komirata, and at the end of this you have the last object returned is having a last name of Yund. So it's in alphabetical order. Also, if you do slash and then a number, this is going to return just one user having that ID number. So this is ID number 4, and it's Hartman Jacqueline. And another thing is, if we are going to add here in your request, and this one will be a post request, and just add here my post request, and again to the same endpoint, but this time with a post method. API users, and then have a body which is a JSON. We're gonna have L name here, say for example me, then F name, followed by address, followed by mobile. Let's just put 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and followed by capital. I'll have a capital of say 20,000, and email. Password. Just have a password of password, and send this one up. And we have returned an object. This time we are given an ID of 51. So if we go back to our get request and we put here instead of 451, we should get my record, and that's it. By the way, balance is 0. I did not include balance in my entry because in the definition of our user, we have balance having a default value of 0. So you don't have to give it a value, and if it does not have a value, it will just be given a value of 0. So that's it. By the way, you can also do put. Let's have a new request here, and this time we'll have put request. And inside of put, we have the API :/8000/API/users. For example, my record would be the one that we'll be editing, and in the body we'll add a JSON file, and I'll just change my mobile to something else like 565689897888, right? And maybe give it a balance of say 5,000. Okay, and send it back, and as you can see, we received the whole object, but this time we now have a balance. If you remember, my balance was 0, but now because of this put request, the balance is 5,000, and the mobile number is also changed to 565689897888. All right, so this is the current state of our project at the moment. So now what we want to do is to create a new table. We'll be adding an investment table, and together with the creation of the table, we're also going to create migration, factory, seeder, as well as controller. So let's do that. Now create a new terminal, and here we're going to say PHP artisan make model. The model name is going to be investment. We'll have -m for the migration, -s for the seeder, -f for the factory, and -c for the controller. Press enter. Okay, model created, factory created, migration, seeder, and controller. Let's first open up our migration. There's going to be investment, this one, table, and populate our fields. The first field we're going to add here is a big integer, and it's going to be our user ID. This is unsigned because this is coming from our ID from the user. This will be our foreign key to that. Next is we'll be adding a decimal, and this is amount of investment, and 10 and 2. By the way, there should be semicolon, and also we'll add a string for remarks, and this can be nullable. So that we're not forced to put a value on it. Okay, that will be it. And let's try and execute our migration. PHP artisan migrate. Oops, we have an error. Let's see. Already exists. Okay. I had an error earlier that created that investment table. So we'll just do fresh. Okay. So next is we're going to do factory. Okay, let's do investment factory, and here we're going to define the data that we want for our seeds in the investment table. The first one is of course the user ID. This will simply be a random number from 1 to 50. That is because we know for a fact that in our factory, in our seeder for users, we had created 50 records. So for sure the ID of those records is from 1 to 50. So just do faker, then number between 1 and 50. Next is the amount. So again, it's also going to be a number between. Let's just have it. Let's say our investments will be from 1,000 to 10,000. And I think that would be it. All right. And let's go to our seeder. Under seeds, investment seeder. So here we're going to call factory. Then we'll have app / investment class. We'll have 200 just 100 records create. All right. Let's make sure that our factory is calling investment, because when okay, it's good right there. Sometimes when you generate a factory, this is not going to be according to the name of your model. Sometimes it's just plain model. So you have to make sure that the factory defined here is using your model that you want and not just the word model itself. Okay, and so we can try out our seed. So let's do PHP artisan db seed. By the way, we did not update yet our database seeder. So from here, we're also going to copy this, and instead, besides just user seeder, we'll also include investment seeder here. So just to make sure, let's also clear out our migration. So we'll do PHP artisan migrate fresh, and with the seed switch. So it's gonna recreate our database and then put on our seeders for first the user seeder and then seeding also the investment seeder. All right. Now we have data for both users and investments. So let's take a look. Let's check out our database. So we have our users. We have 50 users, and in investments we also have 100 investments. All right. Next, we'll now create some endpoints that is going to access our investment data. Let's first close this all just to start fresh. And now let's decide what kind of data do we want. First, let's have a list of investment by a user. I think that is in order. So the first thing we need to do is to go and open up our investment controller. And of course, this is blank. Oh, by the way, I forgot. I think we need to make sure that our user and our investment are related. Let's check. Let's open up our user. So here we don't have a relational function towards investment. We know that a user is going to have a lot or a multiple investments. So we can add here public function investments plural, because again a user will have multiple investments, and we'll return here this has many, and we pass in app investment. Okay, we'll also open up our investment model, this one, and let's first add our fillable. This is the list of fields that we allow for filling up when we create a new model. So first we have the user ID, of course, and then the amount and the remarks. Oops. And now let's do the relational function. So an investment will belong to a single user. So it's going to be public function user, singular. And we'll return this belongs to app user. All right, let's check. Let's try if our relationship between the investment model and the user table, user model, exists by checking it out in our Tinker, PHP artisan Tinker. So let's try grab one user. Let's try user number 3. So we'll have app user find 3. So we have this. See Molière Ron. Let's check the investment of Molière Ron. We simply say U3 investments, and yeah, we have one investment from user number 3, and that investment is investment ID number 50. Let's try doing it the reverse. So we'll have inv 50 is equal to app investment find 50, and so we have that. And if we ask inv 50 user, we get Molière Ron. All right, so our relationship is working. So now let's proceed with the creation of our function in the investment controller. This again, let's just write this out here. What we want, it's going to have the investments of a user. So let's write out our route. It's going to be API / users / and then the number of the user / investments. This is going to be our endpoint. So let's do the function, public function by user. And of course, we pass in a user as a parameter. And of course, the value for this parameter is going to be automatically given through injection. And it's having a red squiggly line because we need to import that here using use app user. And let's simply return user investments. Okay, let's check this out in our Insomnia. We go to Insomnia in the my get request. Here we are having the API endpoint for getting the single user 20. So if we add here investment, which is what we have in our API route. Actually, we still don't have this in our API routes. We still have to add this. I forgot. This is going to be a get request with users / and then a user number / the word investments, and this is going to open up investment controller by user. So now we're ready. Going back to Insomnia, we now have this API endpoint, users 20 investments, and click on send. We should have nothing. Does that mean there's no investment for user 20? I don't think so, because we actually had it here. Actually, user 3 is what we are using. Okay, let's do user 3. Send. And there we go. We have 1,472 for the investment. It's exactly what we have. And let's try again. Let's try 30. So user 30 here has 3 investments. So as you can see here, the user IDs are all 30. All right. But how about if we wanted to include the user data besides the investment? This can also be achieved, but we need to change a little bit our return statement from our investment controller. So let's do that. Let's go back to our VS Code, and in our controller, instead of using this, we want that we return the user data as well as the investment. So we can do this by let me just comment this out so that it's still there. We'll do return user with the keyword, the function with, and then we have investments. Now this is going to return all the users together with all their investments, but we can filter it further using the where clause. And in the where clause we say ID is user ID, and then the get function. So this time we will be returning the data of the user itself together with the data of the investments, but only the one with the ID as based on the user here. Let's try this out. Click on send again, and this time we have the ID 30 for lname, fname, Gleichner, and then below it there is an investment property, and inside of that property is an array of all the investments. As you can see here, you have user ID 30. All of them have user ID 30. All right, there you go. Okay, for our next example, we are going to add a new API endpoint that is going to return all the investments given a date. All the investments in a particular date. So we'll have a route for this that is API /investments/date, the keyword date and the date parameter. All right, and so let's do our function here, public function by date, and we'll have here a date value. So this is a little bit easy. We are only going to be accessing one table here, just the investment table. So we'll now return investment where just have created at. This is the field that is included in our timestamp in our migration, and this is filled up automatically by Laravel once we create a new record, and so it's called created at. And let's have, actually this should be where between, and created at is going to be the field followed by our from and to, or before and after. It should be from and to. Okay, and we'll have get at the end, but we have to do first our from and to, and also our investment has to be imported. So we do here use app investment, and here we'll define our from. So our from is simply our date followed by the 0000 of time. That means it from 12 a.m. of that date, and then 2 again date followed by 23:59, meaning 11:59 in the evening. All right, so that's our from and to. Okay, let's try this out in Insomnia. Again, this is a get request, and from our API we say investments / date and then the date. Now we all know that this was generated, all the investments here are generated today because by way of seeders, so they will all have the same dates, and that would be March 11. So let's just do that. 2021-03-11, and click on send, and we have an error. It's not found. API investments date. Let's check back with our we don't have an API for that yet, that's why. So little route get and then / investments / date / and date parameter, and then followed by investment controller by date. And that's it. Let's go back to Insomnia and send again. Hopefully this will work. Yeah, it worked. And this is all 100 investments. So let's try go into our database and change the dates of some of them. Let's maybe change this number 13 here to 10. So this will now be March 10, yesterday. Let's have another one here. This will be March 10 as well. So we have changed 2 of them into March 10. So let's try in our Insomnia and check if we can grab those that were from March 10 right here and click on send. And so sure enough, we have our 2 data that were coming from March 10. Okay. Finally, let's have a more specific type of data extraction. Let's write out what we want here. I would like to have a list of investments from high rollers. High rollers are those. Let's just let me rewrite this one. List of investments which are over a given parameter. So our route is going to be /API /investments over, and then let's have an amount. So this is going to give us a list of investments which are higher than that particular amount. Okay, and so we do public function, and let's just do over, and then here's the amount. So this is easy actually, but later on we're gonna make it a little bit more complicated, such that it is going to make use of 2 tables. But for now, it's going to access only the investments table. So do return investment where amount, and then we do greater than, and then the amount. Let's grab this endpoint and add it in our route. Paste it there, and then we'll call on investment over. All right, let's try this out in Insomnia. So again, it's investment and then over. Last, for example, let's do over 4,000 and click on send. Again, we have a problem. API investments over. API investments over. We have this amount. Actually, we don't have to include API here. It's already a prefixed So that's it. That's why. All right. Let's go back here. Make sure I have. Okay. Click on send. And there we go. So this, all of these investments are over 4,000. So you have here 4,021. Nothing below 4,000 or nothing equal to 4,000 even. Okay. Now, what if you want to include here as part of the output the last name and first name would be of the investor? Maybe, the last name and the first name would be of the investor. You want to include that there. So in that case, you're no longer just accessing the investments table, but we'll also be accessing the users table. Now this is a great example because we will be using the join mechanism here that is also available in Eloquent in Laravel. So let me first comment this out. And to do this, we're going to do return investment. Okay, investment only. Actually, we'll do user. I think we do user. User. And then we're going to do join. We'll be joining investments. So when you do join, you have to call the table name and not the model name. Followed by how to join them is going to be users.id. That is equal to the investments.user ID. Right? And then we'll define what will be the data that we'll be getting. So we say get, and this is an array. This array is going to contain all the fields that we want to include in our result. So the first, we're going to do users.lname, then users.fname, followed by investments.asterisk. Everything inside of investment. Okay, let's try this. Same API, send, and here now have lname, fname, and then the same thing here for the investments. All right. So I think that will be it for this demonstration. I hope that you try and practice on your own because practice makes perfect sense actually. You can think of a lot of combinations of data that you want to access or to generate from your API endpoints. You can think of whatever API endpoints that you can try. Just try it yourself. Combinations and everything else. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching and see you again in the next one.